So generative AI can be used to create rapid 3D models, and this will be the case study. We see over here the image. This is for a Roman bust, so for Caligula. I use an image with quite a lot of details, so we see over here that the file size will be roughly 16 megabytes for the image, and this will be the output models. So just by looking at them like this, you can already tell the difference in detail. I also enable over here the statistics within Blender. So the first model will be defined by the following number of faces. So 150,000 in this case. If I'm going to zoom in, I can also change the shading. So if I will go to shade smooth, the model will look like this. So it's pretty well defined. We see over here on the back, we're going to see that the overall shape over here for the pedestal that the bust is standing is not according to the reference. This will be the second model. As you can see, this will be defined by a fewer number of faces. I'm going to shade this as well, and we're going to see that the shading will look like this. So if I'm going to shade it with auto smooth, it will look like this. Now, this will be the last model, and as we can see, this will be close to 2 million faces. And we're going to see that there are a high amount of details over here. If I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to shade this smooth, you're going to see that the model will look even better like this. Also, if you're going to check the reference over here, and the pedestal that was created by the tool is quite impressive. Now, the only problem is that this doesn't support texture. So if I'm going to enable texture, we're going to see that the model texture will look like this. So considering that maybe we want to create an application, a VR or XR application that will use this as an interactable object, it does require manual texturing in this case. We see over here texture. This can be easily be fixed directly within Blender. And we're going to see over here that the shading will cause the following problem over here. So for this model, if I'm going to press tab, we're going to see that this will be defined by triangles. But within Blender, I can press A to select everything, press F3, and I can search for triangles to quads, and it will convert as following. We're going to see how some of the triangles will still remain like that. And the shading over here still needs to be addressed, especially for the eyes. We see the other model will be the following. And again, if I will convert this triangle to quads, we're going to see that over here we're going to have a higher number of triangles remaining. And this will be the last model. This will be the one generated by Sparc3D. If I'm going to press tab, we're going to see that the mesh on this will be much more dense. So the model will look like this. Now I'm going to jump on the web platform and see exactly how those models were generated. So this is the one for Tripo, and this was set to the poly count to be at the maximum. So currently it supports up to 150,000 over here, as you can see, with textures. And this is the output mesh. We see over here within Tripo viewport, over here the perspective is a little bit changed. Just like within Blender, if I'm gonna jump to this view, this will be the right orthographic view. And if I'm gonna press 5 on the numpad, this will be the perspective view in this case. And we see that the model generated by Spark will be a little bit better aligned over here. So this is perspective, this is isometric view. If I'm gonna take this and overlap it to the model, it will look like that. The second one made by Tripo, like this. And this will be the one made by Sparc3D. So in this case, we see that those will match the initial orientation a little bit better. We can go ahead and we can slightly rotate this, but afterwards that bottom pedestal will no longer be aligned. But we see now we have the following lines over here. I should also rotate this onto the other direction. So rotate it along the y-axis. So maybe something like this, but only a few degrees, maybe let's say 3 degrees. And now if I'm going to overlap that, it will match like this. So we see that overall, the reconstruction done by Sparc3D in this case is a little bit better, both in terms of output quality. So we see over here the individual um, reconstruction of those hair elements, while we have those made with Tripo like this. Again, with 5 on Blender, we can change the perspective, and over here within the viewport, so not over here, over here. So we're gonna see over here that it will look like this. If I'm gonna swap the model to the other one, which will be this one, we're also gonna have an overview over here, where we're gonna see the version used for this. So 2.5 in both cases, but one was set to generate triangles and the other one was set to generate quads. And this will be the output model from Sparc3D. As we can see, the bottom pedestal is a lot better defined, and overall over here the shape is also really nice. One thing that we can do is transfer texture generated from Tripo and bake it onto this model, since they will be quite overlapped over here. So I can select those. I can change the geometry to be straight in the middle. So origin. And now using the align tools, I can have this added exactly on top of this. As we can see, I will also need to change it on the z-axis. So maybe something like this will be close to an overlap. And we can have that baked texture transfer from one model to the other one. Okay, so this was an overview regarding Tripo and Sparc3D. So currently Sparc3D doesn't support texture, but we see that the high amount of details added to the model make it more better. So for various case studies, this mesh will be a lot better. We can further go ahead and decimate this if you're going to have problems within the VR application. We can go ahead and we can decimate this. Even if I'm going to decimate this with, let's say 0.1 in this case, it will be close to the number of faces that the other model will have. So a little bit more than that. Since we start from 2 million, this will be close to 200,000, as we can see. But if I'm going to swap over here, it will still have much more details than those other models. Even if I will go with a lower value of 0.5, in this case it should process, and we're going to see that with 0.5 we're going to go even lower than this one. But again, the model will maintain better details over here. So if I'm going to apply this decimate over here, we're going to see that now this will be defined by 100,000 faces. So I'm still waiting for that to be applied since it's a larger modifier. This one 45 and this one 104. So we see that this has less geometry, but at the same time it will offer better geometry overall. Okay, so this was an overview regarding generative AI applied to Caligula case study. Let me know in the comment section what generative AI tool are you preferring. Are you using Tripo, CSM, Meshi, or do you prefer Sparc3D? Also, if you enjoy this kind of content, you're going to find a similar one over here on the left side, and I will also add a subscribe button to the right. So that's it. Thanks for watching.